Welcome to Finance First Friday. October is the month of open enrollment, so today we're going to focus on one of your benefits, the HSA versus the FSA. Although these options are related to healthcare, we'll talk about how you can wrap one of them into your overall retirement savings strategy. Before we discuss the HSA and FSA and what those letters mean, you've got to know a little bit about the healthcare choices for 2022. Our health plan has been slightly redesigned this year. We used to have 3 plan options under Optima Health: Basic, Standard, and Premier. This year, the Basic and Standard plans have been replaced by the Consumer-Driven Health Plan, or CDHP. The old Premier plan is now renamed the Point of Service Plan. I'm going to give a very brief overview of each plan, but you can view a more detailed description of the plans when you actually do your open enrollment. Really quickly, before I talk about the 2 plans, you should know that 2022 is a passive enrollment year. That means if you don't go into the benefit-focused platform to enroll, your choices from 2021 will carry over to next year. That includes your health coverage. Whatever plan you were on will be mapped over to the new plan that replaces it. However, as you'll see in a moment, that's not a license to just let it ride. Okay, the plans, here we go. The Consumer-Driven Health Plan qualifies as a high-deductible health plan, or HDHP. That means you'll pay a lower fee or premium every month for your insurance coverage. But if you have to make a claim, more money comes out of your pocket before the insurance company chips in. People who enroll in a high-deductible health plan are eligible for the HSA, with a few caveats. To be eligible for the HSA under this plan, you can't be covered by any other insurance plan that is not considered a high-deductible health plan. For example, if you're covered through your spouse's healthcare and that plan is not a high-deductible health plan, you wouldn't be eligible to open an HSA. If you have coverage through Medicare or TRICARE, those are not HDHPs. Also, you can't be claimed as someone else's dependent. If you elect the Consumer-Driven Health Plan, your insurance premiums are quite low, like less than $5 per paycheck. To incentivize selecting the cheaper option, VBCPS will contribute $750 per individual or $1,250 per family to an HSA should you be eligible and choose to open one. I think I've mentioned before how much I like free money. There may be lots of factors to consider before you ultimately decide on the health plan you want, but for me, this is one of them. An important note here, in order to receive the contribution from VBCPS, you must actively choose the CDHP and the HSA in the benefit-focused platform. If you take the passive route and just let your healthcare get selected for you because you had the high-deductible health plan last year, you will not get the money from VBCPS. Not even if you already had an HSA open. So don't be fooled by this year's passive enrollment. Get in there and make a choice. On to the other plan option. The Point of Service Plan has a lower deductible. That means if you have to make a claim, you'll pay less out of pocket before the insurance company starts to cover the bill. Of course, you're going to pay more for that kind of coverage, so your premiums each month will be higher. This plan is not eligible for the HSA. One last thing to note, an FSA is available to you regardless of which health plan you choose. In fact, you don't even have to have health insurance coverage through VBCPS to have an FSA. That was a lot to take in, so let me take a moment to decode this alphabet soup, and we'll revisit this slide again later. So, HSA, FSA, what do these letters mean? HSA stands for Health Savings Account, while FSA stands for Flexible Spending Account. It's the S that's really the key difference, saving versus spending. That's how you should think about these 2 plans. Here's a brief overview before we get into the nitty-gritty. A health savings account allows you to set some money aside from each paycheck in anticipation of needing the funds for healthcare at some point in the future. There's a maximum you can save each year. In 2022, it's $3,650 for an individual subscriber and $7,300 for a family. Your account balance starts at zero, and it can grow without limit from there. A flexible spending account allows you to receive some money at the beginning of the year and spend it down on medical needs throughout the year. There's a maximum you can ask for. Your balance starts at whatever you ask for and drops to zero by the end of the year. Let's take a closer look at how each account works. First, the flexible spending account. Here's the basic script. During open enrollment, you can choose an amount to be given to you at the first of the year. $100 is the minimum, $2,750 is the maximum. Some planning is involved here so that you only take what you intend to use. Do you know you have a big expenditure coming up? Then you might want to consider requesting a higher amount. But it's not necessarily wise to just ask for the maximum if you're not really going to need it. We'll see why in a minute. Once the calendar year starts, you'll receive a debit card that is loaded with the funds you asked for. Use that card to pay for qualified medical expenditures, co-pays, prescriptions, reading glasses, condoms, tampons. You can see the extensive list at healthequity.com/QME. Now let's say you zip into a pharmacy after school to pick up some Band-Aids, but you don't have your FSA debit card on you. Fret not. You can pay for the expense yourself and then submit a receipt and get reimbursed by the funds on your FSA debit card. Just upload the receipt to the online portal or use the Health Equity EZ Receipts app from your mobile device. Now, the money you asked for isn't a gift. It is a loan, and you have to pay it back. Pre-tax deductions will be taken from your paycheck to pay back what you asked for during the year. For example, if you received $500 up front, then you'll have $25 taken out of your 20 regular paychecks to pay back your loan. By the end of the year, you either need to spend down what you have left on the debit card or plan to roll over some of the funds to next year. Usually, there's a limit to how much you can roll over, but legislation surrounding COVID-19 has removed the limits for rolling over FSA funds into 2021 and 2022. Rollover limits are what make the initial planning step crucial. If you took the maximum of $2,750 at the beginning of the year and then only spent $200, in a normal year, you'd be able to roll over $550 of that, but then you'd have $2,000 that you'd either have to spend before December 31st or you'd just lose it. That's a lot of Band-Aids. It is expected that in 2023, the rollover limit will be back in place. So, why might a spending account be a good choice for you? With an FSA, you get that money up front. So if you have a big expense early on in the year, you'll have that money available right when you need it, rather than having to save incrementally for it. You also pay it back in pre-tax dollars, which is an advantage to you. That's money you earned and spent on your healthcare without the government taking its portion. And now the health savings account. During open enrollment, if you select the consumer-driven health plan and opt for an HSA, you'll then select how much you want to save over the course of the year. You can save up to $3,650 as an individual or $7,300 for a family. Remember, VBCPS will kick in some money toward that maximum. Just like with the FSA, the money will be deducted from 20 paychecks on a pre-tax basis. That money goes into a regular savings account and grows with interest over time. What supercharges this savings account, though, is the opportunity to do some investing once your account reaches $2,000. All the growth your HSA earns, that's your interest and investment returns, is earned tax-free. That's right, you owe no taxes on the growth of the money. Just keep planting that money over time and let it grow. Now, of course, The purpose of this money is to be able to pay for your healthcare. At any time, you can withdraw the money to pay for your healthcare needs. You could also pay for the service on your own and reimburse yourself from the HSA later, just like you can with an FSA. Unlike with the FSA, you don't have to reimburse yourself by the end of the year. The advantage to delaying reimbursement is that you can allow the money in your HSA to spend time compounding for years, and then take your reimbursement much later after it's had the chance to grow. When you withdraw the money for a medical expense, the withdrawal is also tax-free. In case you missed it, that's a triple tax savings. The money is tax-free going in, it's tax-free in growth, and it's tax-free when you withdraw it as long as it's used for a qualified medical expense. The money in your HSA is always yours, even if you don't use it for medical reasons. If you do withdraw the money for a non-medical reason, then you'll have to treat it as regular income and pay taxes on it. If you make a non-medical withdrawal before age 65, you'll not only own taxes on it, but you'll also have to pay a 20% penalty on the money you withdraw. Probably best to avoid that. So, could a savings account be for you? If you don't need the money for spending right away, or if you can pay for some of your medical costs up front while you get some money saved, then an HSA might be a good choice. The HSA can even be a part of your overall retirement plan. Healthcare costs eat up a large amount of a retiree's budget. If you start packing away that money in an HSA and let it compound while you're working, you can accumulate a healthy reserve of money to pay for those health costs in retirement, all while avoiding losing money to taxes. And here we are, back at the beginning. Now that you have some idea of what the HSA and FSA do, here's an overview of the health plans one more time. To recap, both the saving and spending accounts are available under the consumer-driven health plan, but you can only select one. If you want the savings account, don't forget you have to actively select it. No passive enrollment here. Only the spending account is available under the point of service plan. And even if you refuse health coverage through VBCPS, you're still eligible to open a spending account. Each account has its merits and can be useful for paying for healthcare now and in the future. Your homework this month is to determine your healthcare needs and decide whether a savings account or a spending account is right for you. When you're ready, log into Benefit Focus using the link that was sent to you in your email and make your selection. Remember, open enrollment for 2022 closes on October 15th, so don't wait. In our next talk, we'll begin discussing some of the options you have for reducing the gap between what you have saved and what you need to have saved to live the life you want in retirement. We'll meet on November 5th for our first look at retirement accounts, which will focus on the 403(b). Thanks for tuning in. Go do your homework and enjoy your well-deserved weekend.